My name is Dr. Cheryl Jessica George, and I'm the Assistant Dean and Director of Graduate Programs here at Clark Atlanta University. Just a small little promo. Clark Atlanta University School of Business is the premier school of business, and being a part of the Atlanta University Center, we were the first HBCU to award graduate degrees. And so just to give you a little bit about our legacy, we have graduates that have graduated that are now running corporations, and we're still continuously producing them through our MBA programs. We're a full-time and part-time MBA and a working professional, as well as through our Masters of Accounting and of Commercial. If you're interested in graduate business school, please apply. I do also want to bring welcome on behalf of our Dean, Dr. Savannah Sudoka, who couldn't be with us today, but he's really, really excited to have this inspirational opportunity for you to learn more about HBCU and sports. We're really excited to be hosting this event with the Bozeman and Davis Bozeman Law Firm and the HBCU All-Stars. We expect that you guys will not only have enjoyed the delicious food that you're eating, but also the content of food that will take you further in your careers. So without further ado, I just want to welcome you for being here. I'll pass it over to Maoli Davis.
All right. And good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So excited to kick off the HBCU All-Star Challenge this way. This organization, HBCU All-Stars, has been centered around pouring into our young people, both our student athletes as well as our students. And so this is how we're starting. Not with the game, but with coming here. The game is on Wednesday night, and it's on Saturday, Friday and Saturday. And so all of you all you students who are here, please see Dr. Green on your way out. That's Dr. Green, our Director of Operations. Our firm is sponsoring tickets for every student that's here. Because you're here, we want to make sure that you're at that game on Wednesday night to see Howard University play Tennessee State University. And then, of course, we know you're going to be there to see our Panthers over the weekend play, win, and start this next. Can y'all give it up for the Panthers for this next? We're going to run this back, win it all again. But I'm Maoli Davis. I serve in a couple of capacities. First, I'm the founding partner of the Davis Bozeman Johnson Law Firm, one of the largest African-American law firms in the state of Georgia. We do primarily civil rights law, wrongful death, medical malpractice in that area. But we also do what we say is black law. What that means is if black folk are affected, we want to be there to support our people. And that is one of the ways that we show up for HBCU All-Stars. So I'm proud to be the social justice ambassador for HBCU All-Stars with my brother and friend from many years when he was back hooping at Georgia State, and I was in law school at Georgia State College of Law, and this was my dean of admissions at Georgia State College of Law, who actually signed my letter for me to be able to start law school and start this career. Start this career that I'm so grateful for, and allowed myself and my law partner, who went to Florida A&M, but also Georgia State. We met on our very first day at Georgia State College of Law, myself and Robert Bozeman. And then finally, I am blessed to be able to teach every semester here at Clark Atlanta University in the Political Science Department, the Dr. Matt Henry Jones Political Science Department. So I teach civil rights law, and I teach, for all of you all aspiring to be lawyers, I'd invite you to sign up for my course. Next semester, we teach a pre-law colloquium, and you'll have exposure to all of the greatest legal minds in the state of Georgia, because they come to my class, because and I've had everybody but Mo Ivory, who she teaches at Georgia State College of Law, so we have conflict sometimes, but we're going to get her this semester. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce to you all a brother who had a vision and pursued it. And, you know, what our motto, you know, you find a way or make one. And that is exactly what this brother did as it relates to HBCU All-Star. So I'm so proud of the work that he has been doing to, again, grow our culture in HBCU sports, but in HBCU land overall. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Coach Travis L. Williams.
Wow, wow, thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Say it one more time. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And thank you, God, for the vision. As Marlon mentioned, I've been rolling with his brother for a long, long time. Since we were on the court playing days. I've been rolling with this young lady. She's been knowing me since I was 18 years old when I stepped foot on Georgia State University campus, and then when I coached there for a number of years. You know, after 17 successful years of coaching, God placed this vision in my spirit. As much as I love coaching, you know, I love it, but when God spoke to me in October 2019, placed this vision, said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about any more coaching. Don't worry about moving 9 times in 17 years of coaching. You're getting ready to do something to change the trajectory of our historical black colleges and universities. And I didn't understand the magnitude of that moment then until March 2020. I'm gonna let him share March 20 so he can set the tone. I can't speak on it, but my noted attorney can speak on it. So I want him to paint the picture before I come in, so y'all can put this in full perspective, what this movement means for us and our culture. So when you see a black man out here fighting for the culture, not only nationally, but globally, it's important for us to support us. And we just got kind of awakening on Tuesday of what you see. So now I'm even fighting even more. And so we need all of us even fighting even more for the culture. Because with this God-driven vision, it's an opportunity to celebrate us at the highest level.
So, just to give you all, many of you all who are obviously interested in sports and business, and make no mistake about it, this is a business. The athletes know more than ever now that this is a business as we learn more about NIL deals. But the business is also your intellectual property. And so what happened back in 2020 with this vision that was birthed. We were get ready to have a basketball game during the Final Four at Morehouse, and COVID hit, took us out, couldn't do it. Something else happened in 2020, the murder of George Floyd. So what did all of the rest of America start centering? Us and DEI and those things, and as a part of it is that there was some cultural appropriation. There's some attempts to take what was Brother Travis and his family's intellectual property. And so a group of us, lawyers, Felicia Hall Allen, great lawyer, Ben Crump, great lawyer, 2 lawyers out of New York, our firm came together to fight to make sure that this company from outside of our community did not take what he had worked for, what he had envisioned, and what he was building. And we were able to reclaim that. And since then, the journey has been about continuing to build HBCU culture and a black business, a black-owned family business based here in Atlanta. And so we just want you all to understand what you're learning here in the School of Business and what we do as lawyers. It all fits together. You have to protect what you birth, right? What comes out of your spirit, what God has put on you to complete. We got to protect it legally. And so I just wanted to, so that's how we got here. But there's been so much building after that has really taken it to a whole nother trajectory. So with that, I'll let Coach finish, and then we're going to start this wonderful panel.
Yeah, so thank you. And I wanted to put that in perspective so you understand the magnitude of this moment. So in October 2019, I had to go to my wife and say, hey, babe, you're going to have to hold it down personally, professionally, and financially, because God has placed this vision in my spirit. And this is the only thing I'm going to focus on for all that time, as Myla mentioned. We got to March 2020 and pandemic shut down. But just imagine what we've been able to accomplish the past 3 years. April 2022, New Orleans hosted the first ever HBCU All-Star game ever during the 40-plus year history of the NCAA March Madness tournament. April 2023, Texas Southern University, Final Four weekend, first ever HBCU All-Star game on an HBCU campus. April 2024, Phoenix. How many of y'all know about Arizona, Dr. Martin Luther King? The last state to recognize Dr. King's legacy and holiday. Arizona. So a black man in April and January 2024 walking through downtown Phoenix, holding a torch and telling us, because they didn't think any black folks was out there in Phoenix. There's a whole lot of black folks out there ready for what we were getting ready to do and supporting our initiative. So imagine turn around, Dr. King's legacy holiday, say a black man is getting ready to bring this HBCU All-Star game to the state of Arizona, the last state to recognize Dr. King's holiday. They don't think you can show up and show out. What do? Grand Canyon University, sold out, standing room only, overflow crowd. And now, just this past week, we announced the 4th annual HBCU All-Star Game in the great city of San Antonio. And guess what else is about it? Hold on. Guess what else? First ever women HBCU All-Star Game. First time ever. So my PR company that I hired in San Antonio, they said, hey, coach, how are we going to do this? They're all calling about the women's HBCU basketball game. So I'm just telling you, the time is now. That's why we wanted to put the folks today, women in sports. That's why we have some dynamic in the women over there ready to speak into you. So this is important. I'm glad I see a lot of folks out here taking notes. I love that. And don't be afraid to ask questions. I think that's what we're setting the tone of this week. This is has something to say HBCU All-Stars Challenge Week. And we're setting the tone here on the beautiful campus of Clark Atlanta University. Yeah. Wednesday, November 13th, Howard and Tennessee State. A few days later, second location, Clark Atlanta, Epps Gymnasium, Clark Atlanta and Tuskegee versus Fayetteville State and Shaw, SIDCC. But check this out. We are setting the tone here. And before you leave today, have each one of you a commemorative HBCU All-Stars lapel pin. You're officially a part of the HBCU All-Stars family. So what's important is what you do here, the knowledge you take from here, and how you share it, and how you push it, and how you support us. We never want to have a platform like this, and then they say, hey, coach, you got this amazing platform, but why aren't your folks supporting you? We don't want that, but we know what we're about. And so you came up here, you're supporting this, it is important. It's important for those outstanding women that get ready to speak to you. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. We're excited.
Yes. Thank you, Coach.
Wow, thank you so much. We're excited. This is a great opportunity. I have the opportunity of introducing the moderator. I'm so excited. Ms. Rashida Hassan. She's actually a first-year full-time MBA student with the first-year full-time student with a concentration in sports and entertainment management. She's also a student athlete here. She's on our softball team. She's a leader. So she demonstrates leadership, teamwork, and resilience. She serves as a graduate assistant in the athletic department. She contributes to enhance a variety of areas in the university's athletic department. She brings a strong academic background. She holds her bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a minor in sociology from Clark Atlanta University. Yay! Her dual role as a student athlete and a graduate assistant provides her with a comprehensive perspective on the challenges and opportunities within the HBCU collegiate athletic field, where she aspires to make a significant impact. So without further ado, we are honored to have Ms. Rashida Muhammad as our Rashida Hassan. Actually, I have another graduate student she's my second Rashida. Hassan as our moderator.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for this exciting panel of the power and the impact of HBCU sports on the school and the surrounding community. We're honored to have an incredible lineup of experts with us today, each of whom brings a unique perspective on the influence of sports and education, law, community engagement, and economic development. Please join me in welcoming our panelists. we have Dr. Markeisha Henderson. We have Miss Mo Ivory. We have Miss Angela Shuggs. So to speak about our first panelist, we have Dr. Markeisha McWilliams Henderson, an Assistant Dean of School of Business at Clark Atlanta University, where she also serves as the School Development Officer overseeing fundraiser and partnership efforts. And as Director of Sports and Entertainment Concentration, leading academic initiatives in sports and entertainment, Dr. Henderson has extended her leadership to many organizations, including commissioned research for the National Football League Players of Association. She currently serves as the Dean of the NCAA Dr. Charles Whitcomb Leadership Institute. She holds a BA in Journalism and Communications from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, a Master's in Sports Administration, and a Doctorate in Higher Education Administration from George Washington University. Now we have Ms. Mo Ivory. She's an attorney, a professor of practice and director of the Entertainment, Sports and Media Law Initiative at Georgia State University College of Law. Mo practiced as an entertainment attorney for many years before focusing on her talents in the media industry. She has also served as an adjunct professor at Howard University School of Law, where she taught entertainment law for 3 years. Ms. Ivory graduated from Spelman College with a degree in political science and earned a law degree from Temple University School of Law. Yes, you know we love us some Ms. Spelman. All right. She currently serves as the advisory board of the Entertainment and Sports section of the Georgia Bar Association and as an advisor for the Sports and Entertainment Law Society. Lastly, we have Angela Shuggs.
Just like I know it starts like sugar, it sounds like sugar, but it's
Suggs. She is the Vice President and Director of Athletics at Florida A&M University.
And you.
Yes, who began her role on October 7th, 2024, just around the corner. Yes, ma'am. Angela is a seasoned sports executive with over a decade of experience in leadership roles within the sports industry. She has served as the President and CEO of the Florida Sports Foundation since 2017, overseeing Florida's $74 billion sports tourism industry and leading effort in securing, hosting, and retaining sports events throughout the state. She managed multi-million-dollar grant programs supporting amateur and professional sports events. Angela has also held multiple leadership positions at FAMU and was instrumental in increasing ticket sales, corporate sponsorships, and royalty revenue for the university. During her tenure, FAMU athletic programs achieved numerous conference championships. Angela holds a bachelor's degree in business economics from Florida A&M University and a master's degree in marriage and family therapy from St. Thomas University. Thank you all for being here today.
This is also an all Delta panel, right?
No, that's good. Yes, ma'am.
I just have to go ahead and say that.
That wasn't invited, so thank you. That was needed. Thank you. Okay, firstly, Dr. Henderson, as an Assistant Dean and Director of the Sports and Entertainment Concentration at Clark Atlanta, your roles span from fundraiser and partnership initiatives to leading academic programs in sports and entertainment. You also bring experience from working with organizations like the NFLPA and the NCAA Dr. Charles Whitcomb Leadership Institute. I'd like to start with a question for you about the broader economic impact of HBCU sports. My question to you is, how do you see HBCU sports as a driver for economic growth and business opportunities, particularly in the local communities surrounding the university?
Thank you for that question. Thank you, Rashida, for that introduction. Before I get to your question, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Travis Williams and I started our careers around the same time. His first stint as a head coach at Fort Valley State, I was Director of Communications at the SIAC conference office. And when we talk about the growth of HBCU sports, I think at that time when he was a first-time head coach, that was my first job in intercollegiate athletics. I started my career in broadcasting for 8 years and transitioned into the administration side of sports. At that time, opportunities for a more unfortunately, I think the only, game was the, Bayou Classic that had an independent deal with NBC on, as far as national broadcasting. But as we, have seen this industry grow, the opportunities and the number of eyes on HBCU sports, we've always known what we have, right? In addition to working for SIS, he also worked for the SWAC, and some of those games were some of the most highest attended football games in Division I, outside of, I think now the Power Four, but outside of the big schools, the bowl schools. And we always knew that. We always knew what HBCU sports were capable of. I think now we're at the point in the industry where others have now realized that, one, whenever you are seeking to expand or to grow or to have your brands represented, they understand that the college-educated African-American market, we're big consumers, we have discretionary income, and people want eyes on that product, and they want to access that through HBCU sports. So I believe that what we've seen over time is something that we've known all along, that we put together great competition, great history, great tradition. And just as was mentioned before, one of our biggest obstacles is how do we leverage that to the benefit of our community and not be in predatory situations where that is, now you have to safeguard against people who want to be with the culture but aren't for the culture. Okay? So, to really answer your question about how do we leverage, especially this university, Clark Atlanta University, in this area, what we see happening in the West End right now is tremendous opportunity, and for our business students especially, what is happening here economically, when the Mercedes-Benz Stadium went up, thinking about from a real estate perspective, young folks, y'all get your hands on some change, get you some property, thinking about how we fit in sort of this economic system that is occurring here in the West End and be a part of the growth and not on the sidelines of the growth. What I'd like to see happen for our university, what I'd like to see happen for our students, is that we are getting in at the ground level where we have the most control and the most options, and not on the sideline waiting for someone else to come in and build in our communities, and then we're begging or asking them for participation. So there's a lot of opportunity right now to get in at the ground level of the growth that's happening here in the West End. That means attending city council meetings and finding out what's going on. It means being involved and reading things outside of sports. I know I'm a big sports fan, but there's a difference between being a fan and a professional. I think that there's opportunity for everybody, opportunity for all majors, all disciplines to get involved. And we have to do our part in making sure that we're not spectators in the growth and actual participants at the ground level.
Thank you. My next question is, from a fundraiser and partnership perspective, what strategies do you believe HBCUs should prioritize to maximize the potential of their sports programs? Yes. Yes, I'm on her question.
Oh, okay.
The next one, okay, I got you. Ms. Mo Ivory, my question for you is, with your expertise in entertainment and sports law, how can HBCUs leverage legal and media strategies to enhance the visibility and commercial value of their athletic programs?
So, there is no sports without law. Let's just first say that, okay? We wouldn't even be having this forum right now if it wasn't for the law that corrected a situation that could have gone really awry. And that is, what Travis and Molly were alluding to prior to, which is owning your own IP. And so, if you want to work in the sports industry and you are not one of the 0.0% of athletes that are going to have a multi-million-dollar opportunity, then you're going to be behind the sports, which means you're just not going to be on the court or on the field or whatever. And so, if you're going to learn and you want to be in the industry and be behind the court, then you need to learn every single thing you can about the industry from a business perspective and how it operates legally. And so that means that you have to get experience in what those things are. You have to try to figure out and navigate where you want to be in these jobs. You have to go out, you have to find out what these jobs are and figure out where the partnerships are. It's so much easier for you all to figure out where you could find your place, where you could get the information than it has ever been before. for people in my age group, or, you know, for people in their age, whatever it is, we used to have to search out and write letters and do all these things to find people. And you have people sitting in this room right now that could point you straight to the exact direction that you need to go. But it is gonna be on you to ask those questions. It's gonna be on you to communicate effectively. And I find that the biggest problem with this generation is your ability to communicate and your ability to come forward and ask for what you need. Your ability to do the work first before you ask the questions. And so when we talk about strategic partnerships, when we talk about how the law plays a role, when I'm looking, if I'm doing, like for example, I took my law students to the Olympics in Paris this past summer. I did a class at Georgia State Law School called The Legal Life of the Olympic Games. And there was nothing but partnerships in and through that entire experience. So when I thought about how could I get my students to really understand the relationship between the sport and the business and the law, I wanted them to see how the biggest event that happens the biggest sporting event happens in the world, how that comes to be. From when a city thinks about getting an Olympic Games all the way to when the Olympic Games happen. And that's what we studied the whole entire semester. So by the time we got to the Olympics and we went to all the fanfare in Paris and everything, which is the cherry on the top, but it is not at all the substance of what they needed to understand. That was just the treat at the end. But what the real work was the 13 weeks in the classroom when we talked about all kinds of things that could happen. Like what happens when somebody gets stripped of their medal even after they won it. So we got to study that and then see it actually happen. Right? But they understood what was about to happen next. They were going to end up in a port in Switzerland, which is right where they are right now. Because where are the Olympic headquarters? Switzerland. So all of these things are things that like you have to understand from behind the scenes. And so in this in your generation, or in this climate, not even however old you are, in this climate of work, the way people get hired into the industry is by being uniquely different from everybody else. By understanding how the business operates. Like, the business does not operate on TikTok. It does not operate on Instagram. So if that's where you're learning how the MBA or the WNBA or anybody else operates, it does not operate from an influencer perspective. So just because somebody is doing something on the gram or whatever and talking about this or that, that has very little to do with understanding how that deal got made. So what I want to say about if you really want to be in sports and you really want to understand partnerships and you really want to understand how the business goes, then you need to pick up a book and read it and understand it. You need to get contracts, and those things are not on TikTok. And those things are not being shared by influencers. It's not about products. It's how much are you getting paid to talk about that product. And if you want to get paid in product, then you're always going to live in an apartment. Always. Because that's not the value that we're talking about, or that anybody else is really, and certainly not the value that white folks are talking about. So we've been in the WNBA for years, right? And what did it take for the WNBA to finally get a shot at being big?
Angela and Kate Winkler.
Huh?
And
It took a white face to say this is a valuable thing to do. And we've been doing it for decades. So when you understand the landscape and the way that you have to do business and the way deals are being made, then you're more able to get in there and figure out and navigate that landscape for yourself. You can get in this business. This business needs all of us. There's jobs, like if you think, oh, there's no jobs. No, there are jobs. There are jobs. You have to know how to talk the sports talk. Really talk it. You have to, my biggest goal when I teach at Georgia State University College of Law, it's not to, people think, oh, Mo does these celebrity classes, like, oh, she brings the celebrity, and that's not at all. Well, I don't do it so I can take my class to the Olympics or whatever. I do it so that when my students go to interview at a law firm and they come across Mal and he asks them a question, well, what did you learn in that contracts class with Professor Mo Ivory? I want them to be able to say, I learned that exclusivity provisions carve out certain things that an athlete is not able to do certain times during his contract, but we also learned that we could put things in there that can make it so they can do certain other things outside of those categories so that they can be free to make extra money. That's how I want my law students to be able to answer that question. And if you can answer that question, then you're gonna get hired. Because nobody else is gonna come in and answer the question that way. They're gonna be like, well, I know that there's these NIL deals, and there's there's this, and and then I'm not hiring that person. And nor is anybody else. So when we think about like partnerships, and you think about preparing yourself to be in front of that partner, and what that partner is gonna want out of you as a young student, or as a young lawyer, as a business person, someone who they can see running their department and making deals for them. Business people make deals, hand them off to the lawyers write up the deals, negotiate the deals, then sometimes the lawyer becomes the head of the deals department. I mean, there's jobs everywhere. But you just have to be ready and able to go get them. And then when you're in these jobs, HBCUs are gonna soar. Because the right people are doing the deals. And then our students will go like, oh, I wanna go there, because did you see that graduate who just got that $4 million deal? Or that $10 million, or that $100 million deal? That's how we grow our HBCUs, because we know what it is. We need the flash to bring the people to want to go here. It's not a formula that is not easy to follow, but we have to create that, and we create that by getting our schools noticed, by getting the deals, getting the professionals behind it that walk into the door and already say, you know what, I am interested in finding out what's going on at Clark Atlanta. Let me go over there and see what's happening in that program, because since I'm in charge of this $100 million budget, I might drop $10 million on them. But how are we gonna get that person in the job to be in charge of the money to come here and drop that money? They have to be qualified to do that job.
Thank you, that was very insightful. Next, we have Ms. Angela Suggs.
Angela's good.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
So my question for you is, as an experienced athletic director and former CEO of Florida Sports Foundation, what unique strengths do you believe HBCU sports bring to the broader sports industry?
Sports and entertainment, right? They are married now. Sporting events are entertainment events. You have to look at it that way, because we're talking about, from a revenue perspective, we talk about economic impact. We're talking about pretty much the same dollar. As you look at what families in terms of disposable income, when you are looking at your budget, just even looking at your bank account, those aren't necessarily the same thing, right? You're looking at your bank account, you're deciding how you're going to spend that dollar. That dollar that goes into the mall versus that dollar that goes into the movies is that same dollar that's going to go into an arena or a stadium, right? So they go together. And people want to be entertained. That's where we are now. That's why people sit and rooms in your home become internet cafes, because you're just scrolling. And you're just scrolling, and you look up, and now hours have passed, right? We are, you've been binge watching shows. The old school of revenues and multimedia rights agreements and all of these things that come through because you're placing an ad. Well, above and beyond Super Bowl, I don't know that many of us even watch commercials, because we can pay to opt out of an ad. And I'm riding in the car with my husband, who is different from me, and I'm like, is that an ad? When we're listening to Pandora, like, is that an ad? But being in the business of where that once was the bread and butter, right? It wasn't about who was going to be there. Well, now that we have streaming, things live forever. And so now it's about placement. It's about, in that movie, that product was there so that no matter when I watch it, I see the product on a table, or I see the product in a car. If you notice that some of these movies, every car in the movie is a Lexus, or every car in the movie is some form of the same brand, right? Because that's what it's about. It's about this product placement, but you're still being entertained. And so I've only been back at FAMU now for 4 weeks. And as vice president and director of athletics, I spent some time there before, but I've been gone over 7 years. The world has changed in 7 years. Post 2020, nothing about what we do The fact that so many of you are here in person, and at the HBCUs, we still come to class in person more than perhaps at some of the larger, and in sports, the Power Fours, or your larger PWI institutions, where some of them aren't coming back into the classroom at all because everything is so flexible. Life is so flexible. Past 7 years, I've had a goddaughter that graduated from high school in 2020, went to Florida Atlantic University as a track and field student athlete. She never went to an in-person class the entire 3 years that she was there. She graduated from college at 20. Pledged. I have plenty of AKA friends. But she's a legacy. Pledged in those 3 years, was a student athlete all 3 years, was president of her chapter, but graduated at 20. She did an internship her final semester at Tyson Foods in DC and called and said, people go to work every day from 8 to 5 in an office? Is that what you do? And at first I was like, who are you? Who were you raised? What is going on? I was about to call her mom. And then I realized she did high school graduation in a parking lot. Right? She never went to class in person, not one class. So there was no getting up, putting on your clothes, going across campus and getting there and all. She has a whole degree. Summa cum laude even. Right? Tyson Foods, DC. People go to work every day. So, I mean, smart, right? And until now, we are graduating you out into a world that we have not been a part of. We have a daughter that's 18. She's a freshman softball player. We went through travel ball. We went through all of that. And I had to pivot in my parenting of a student athlete. I had to become mom, right? Because I work in sports. So when we get in the car, I want to tell her, what were you thinking? Then I had to remember, she has a whole lot of coaches that we pay to be a part of travel ball, right? Softball. And trainers and all those people. And I just need to be mom. But I had to be mom and preparing her for a world that's different from the world that I was prepared for. Things are different. Transitioning from FAMU Athletics to the Florida Sports Foundation, Florida, 21 million people, third largest state in the country, pretty big deal, more Super Bowls than any other state. And my commercial goes on and on, right? But with that, there are so many opportunities in sport. So many. From an international perspective, because Attorney Mo is talking about International Olympic Committee. We know about the USOPC, United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. But when you're talking about the IOC, right, and you're talking about all of the countries, Florida is getting ready to host 2026 World Cup in Miami, one of 16 communities. We've been working on that we were part of the bid process for Orlando and Miami. And it was awarded to Miami. It's already been in Orlando in 1996. And so as we talk about that and where HBCUs come into it, we have to do it all. So when I was at FAMU before, it's not a brag, it's a reality. They replaced me with 6 people. I was senior associate for external affairs. My counterparts over at Florida State, sports information was a whole department. Marketing was a whole department. Ticket office was a whole department. Athletic advancement was a whole department. We were all of that. Me and some interns, right? Then fast forward, when I came back, we now have a lot of people that are doing that. So we know how to do it all. We find a way to do it all. We find a way that we can open the refrigerator or open the cabinet and we can make a meal. We don't always have to go to the store, right? where economic impact comes in from that, as both of the panelists have shared, is what are people going to buy? Because they have several different options. At HBCUs, when we choose this, the experiences are so vast. When we talk about the opportunities that exist in sport, there are people that make millions growing grass specifically for stadiums. So even agriculture comes into sport. Mr. Ross with Miami Dolphins, we got a whole side farm owned by Mr. Ross. That's agriculture, but that's sport, right? Culinary, nutrition, law, education, particularly now, talking about financial literacy. You think these companies are just contracting out willy-nilly? No, they are creating whole divisions. These franchises are. So I would say don't limit yourself in what you get in the HBCU experience is, and particularly Panthers, y'all on this whole championship ride. Congratulations, go Panthers. And the turnaround story on that, everybody in here got a phone with a video and a something. And if you are looking at the external side of things, use your creativity. Capture it, even if you don't produce it until later. But capture it, even if you know, all of these people that are doing these huge movies and everything, these stories were born decades ago. And then they found the right time and the right opportunity and the right synergy to put it out. And while I kind of touched on a lot of different things as it relates to the HBCU experience, it's because we have so many things that we can tap into as an athlete, as a friend of an athlete, as a graduate student, as an undergraduate student, as a person that thinks that they want to work in sport. That it's not just about being an AD or being in the front office of a professional sports team. There are so many lanes that you can do.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes all of our questions. However, I want you all to please give them a warm round of applause. Thank you all for being here. I want to open the floor to some questions if you have any. All questions are welcome. Yes, Bertha. Yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Bertha Kuala. I'm a sophomore business administration major with a concentration in sports and entertainment management here at Clark Atlanta University from Dallas, Texas. And my question is to all of them, you guys did amazing, especially representing women in sports. You touched about the economic impact that's coming with the sports and entertainment world, and then Attorney Miller talked about the importance of really working for the actual questions. So as we all know, Atlanta is hosting multiple sports teams that are coming, including the MLB All-Star Game, NCAA Men's Final Four, and then we got the FIFA World Cup. What books do you recommend reading for us future sports professionals, or what contracts and cases do you recommend for us to brush up on as we're preparing for all this to happen? Because I know for me, I'll be in Atlanta hopefully by 2030, me and GC will have graduated, so I want to ensure that I'm ready and prepared to make an impact in the sports world.
Thank you.
Great question.
Thank you.
So I'll jump out there because I'm going to keep it simple. I mean, there are several inspirational books by head coaches and the like that you could go out there. My husband and one of his homeboys is here, is born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So any
That's right.
any, in every thing that Vince Lombardi ever said or wrote, is king in our house. But I'm gonna take it old school to something that's an easy read. Who Moved My Cheese? I just picked it up and read it again last week, as a matter of fact, since I'm just transitioning into a new space, and I read it differently this time for myself as well as the community that I was going, or the culture that I was going back into, right? So that I could be prepared to be open-minded. As I said, I'm not going back into the same position that I was in when I was there before. But I am going back to in many ways, the same culture, right? And how do I bring my older self, my more experienced self, back into it? So, ooh, my cheese. It would be one.
I can't really think of one particular book. I do, and it's escaping me the title, but the owner, the founder of Nike, what's the name? Yeah, what's his book?
Shoe Dog.
Shoe Dog.
Yeah, that book is amazing. So I mean, I would definitely start there. But more than just one part, you could Google, the business of sports, like whatever particularly you're interested in learning about. But what I think is even more valuable is finding the organizations, the trade organizations in your city that most of the times allow students to join for free. So if you're looking for places where you can network with others, with sports professionals, I would start off by absolutely making sure you're part of your college's, sports and entertainment society, whatever, but then also go into the city and find out like what organizations are. There's like a sports authority of Atlanta. There's the Atlanta Sports Council. A lot of times they'll let students come to those meetings for completely free, and you will not only the events that you just mentioned that are coming, they'll be talking about exactly what's going to happen when those events come. So it won't be something that you'll feel disconnected from. You'll find opportunities happening right then and there. And then that opens up the pathway for volunteer opportunities, which opens up the pathway for internships, which opens up the pathway for a job. So I would look at the things that you have locally that students can have access to.
I want to just add on to that volunteer piece. I started volunteering in sports, and it's a real thing. And so all of the events that you mentioned, the FIFA World Cup, all of them, if you go to their websites, they have the volunteer applications that are there right now. I mean, you are a part of the team that's helping to produce these world-class events, and it gets you behind the scenes and gets you that experience for certain. So definitely you should all take advantage of that.
In addition, for book-wise, as she mentioned, there's plenty out there, but I think there's two types of readings that every young professional should embark upon. One, read autobiographies. If there's someone that you admire, you want to be a Nicole Leaver, you want to be what's the guy? Rich Paul. They got books, that tells you. And the reason why I recommend that, because every journey, all advice is autobiographical, right? Anything that anybody tells you is going to come from their own lived experience, and you're never going to replicate someone else's lived experience. What I like about autobiographies, particularly, and I sign them a lot in my student work, is because it gives you an appreciation for hustle, right? Because sometimes we see the Bo Ivories that are already here, but there's a story behind how she got there, right? There was hard work, there was disappointment, there were setbacks, right? And so by reading the autobiographies of people that you admire, you learn that nothing is instant, right? There's a road to this, right? And so if there's someone that you admire, I definitely recommend picking that autobiography. Other ways is to, another type of reading that I recommend are readings that help you behave differently. One book recommendation I have is Atomic Habits.
Yes.
Y'all read Atomic Habits. And it just it helps you really center, okay, I have these big goals, right? And everybody, and I see a lot of students, I had one in my office this morning, that, are expecting their faculty members to kind of give them the keys. But really and truly, what it comes down to is how you chart out your own journey and what steps you take. And it doesn't have to be a major step. I'm trying to lose 30 pounds, right? But I can say, well, I'm gonna go to the gym every day, I'm gonna do this and that. The first step in an atomic habit is just getting up in the morning, putting shoes on, putting my workout clothes on.
That's right.
If I can do that every day, very likely I'm gonna go work out, right? Very likely that workout is gonna lead to better behaviors and ultimately my weight loss goal. It's the same for your careers. If there's something big that you have your eyes on, what's that atomic habit? What's the simple thing that you can do every single day that puts you an inch closer to your goal? I think sometimes we get so focused on, the bigger picture, but there's steps along the way. Reading those autobiographies will give you some appreciation for the steps in the grind. reading these type of self-improvement type books will give you some tools and some resources on how to attack your goals more strategically.
That was a great question, Bertha. Do we have any more questions? I seen your hand go up first, so.
Okay. Hi everyone. I am Jamila Williams. I am a senior political science major and religion minor at the illustrious Clark Atlanta University from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yes, ma'am. So that being said, my question is directed to you, Dr. Markeisha McWilliams Henderson. So I remember briefly our moderator mentioned that you did attend the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And being from Wisconsin, I'm aware that they have a very much sports-centered atmosphere. So I was wondering, like, was it the pride of sports embedded within the community that sparked your interest in your career now? Or what did that stem from? And then what kept you from working within the city or state then?
Well, being from Wisconsin originally, as you mentioned, sports isn't part of the culture, but I've been an athlete since I was 5. Kindergarten, field day, all the first place winners, right? But more importantly, I think it took, at that time that I was participating in sport, there was community appreciation for sports. Sports were free. You know, you didn't have to pay for travel and all of this kind of stuff, and you didn't have to have a lot of money. Sports were in school. You know, I went from season to season, volleyball, I played a little softball, dislocated my arm doing that. But, you know, the sports culture there, and I did go to a PWI on a track and field scholarship. I will say that for me, coming to Atlanta was more my heart's work, right? I know that I could have been successful in Wisconsin. After I finished my undergraduate degree, I had a job waiting for me with the Milwaukee Brewers. But been there, done that in Milwaukee, and I think, you know, there's something about just emotional safety that comes with working at an HBCU. There's something about doing work alongside people who look like me and doing work in service to people who look like me that fills me up, you know, and fills my cup and motivates me. But I do appreciate what I learned and what I was able to experience in that atmosphere, because I feel that at the end of the day, I can work in many spaces and be comfortable with who I am. And so, you know, I believe, you know, even in the safety of attending an HBCU, push yourself outside of your comfort zone from time to time. Get to see what other people are saying and what they experience, and learn about others' lived experiences. I think that helps you grow as a person. And it really helped me define, you know, I know that my whole career in sports has been HBCU sports, and that's purposeful, because I know that, you know, that fits me and who I am just from a sports philosophy standpoint.
Great question, thank you. Next question. You're about the biggest, yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Courtney Stanback. I'm a freshman hospitality management major attending Morris Brown College. I have a question regarding, or any of you guys can answer. So I'm going into experiential event marketing and brand engagement. So going forward, from this point on, I know we're in a tough political season at the moment, but just moving past the political season into anything regarding our HBCU community, what are some things that people in my profession, and that people that are taking into account what's going on at specific HBCUs and within our community need to take into account when planning different types of engagement events and different types of things that we want to be able to cater to students of the community.
Y'all still spending money. For those of you that attend more than church events, y'all spending hundreds of dollars on bottle service. You paying way more to get in the party than we did. It's a real thing. But even just in general, right? People are paying $8 for eggs, right? Like even eggs are boutique-ish. Y'all don't buy the store brand, y'all buy an egg. Right? You know, and this kind of thing. And so as it relates to, you just gotta, if that's your lane, you gotta keep your finger on the pulse of what people are buying. When you're looking at branding and the brands, I mean, and as a people, we say Tide or we say Gain. I mean, some people say washing powder, but we put a name We put a brand on everything. For those of you that remember a copy machine, we never said copier, we said Xerox machine. So every machine was a Xerox machine, right? And so everything has a gem clip. Well, a gem is a brand. The product is a paper clip. So as you kind of take a look, right, at those events and what people are doing, take it back to even my comment that I made just about shifting the expectation. And while tradition is great, trending doesn't necessarily come from tradition. Brand success and revenues, while tradition is a good foundation, you've got to take a look at what remains relevant, right? And what the reality of the audience is. Always also look at your audience, because what might sell here in Atlanta might be a tough sell if you leave the state of Georgia and go to Wisconsin, or if you leave wherever it is. So whatever brand you're looking to become involved with, and you know, there is an ideology of social concern in what the brand is about and where you are there. On the campuses, for us, it's just a matter of getting you to be present. Because if we were to pull it back into the success of sports and entertainment, we need you there, right? It's the media's success if you continue to watch something on television, and if you can, but we need butts and seats, is what we call it. And so from a branding perspective, even in the brand partnerships that I'll be taking a look at as we continue and add at Florida A&M, it's going to be about a win-win situation for those brands. The events that we put on, because the football game is an event. We can't just open the gates and let the band play and let the team play and expect that we're going to sell out. We've got to produce an experience, and we've got to align that experience with brands that, again, are going to be win-win, because that's revenues for us. And experiential is about the experience. Did I answer your question?
You did.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lastly, we'll have Chris.
Hey, I'm doing. My name is Chris Mitchell. I'm a first-year MBA student. I was trained in finance and sports entertainment. My question is for Attorney Mo Ivory. You've held prominent roles in media, law, and now local government. What are some leadership skills that you've been most valuable to help you succeed in your industry, and how can I add that to my toolbox?
That's awesome. Thank you. I think that a lot of people would look at my resume and think I've sort of been all over the place. Like, you know, I went to law school, and then I left law school, and even before I went on, well, I mean, I didn't leave law school. I left the practice of law, and then I went on the radio, and then I did TV, and in between that, I was a builder. I built houses, you know. I mean, all of the skill sets that, and then I became a professor. I never ever thought about being a professor. That happened when I was teaching I was on the radio in Washington, D.C., and the dean of Howard Law School heard me on the radio and asked me if I wanted to teach entertainment law, and I did not say no, because it was in my skill set, right? All of these things are all in the same skill set. Good communication, good research skills, the ability to stay focused and manage my time well. All of those skill sets you need in every one of these industries. It's just different industries. And if you can perform, and you can do, and you can be reliable, and you can have a good reputation with people, then you will be able to do anything you want to do. People recommend people for jobs, not resumes. So you can pack your resume, and you could go to college, you could go get an MBA, you could get a PhD, you could go back and get a whatever. Like, I don't believe in all of that. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean that don't go get educated, but resumes don't get jobs.
Right.
People get jobs. And relationships is what it's all about. So I think that if you concentrate on being a person that delivers on your word, that keeps your reputation stellar, and can produce results when asked to, then I think you're not gonna have a problem doing that. And I wanted to say, like, I just wanna say one thing about what you said about experiences. I think that we have to think differently about what partnership is. So when you think about, like, if you were gonna do an event at Morris Brown, or you're gonna do an event at Clark Spelman, Morehouse, wherever it is, and you're gonna ask a brand to finance that or whatever, and we're getting ready to go into 4 years where HBCUs are not gonna be on the front burner, right? Corporations aren't even gonna be thinking about DEI or giving money to, they already are now. And so they're not gonna be thinking like, I'm going down to that homecoming over at Clark and I'm gonna drop it like this. They're not, that's gone. That's over with. So we gotta think about clever ways to bring that money back. And that might be partnering with somebody that you might not have really thought about partnering with before. That might be like a group of black students at Emory, right? And you may need to do some things that are just a little bit uncomfortable or things we've never done before to be able to do the things that you wanna do. And so we gotta start thinking outside of the box on how we fulfill the things that the corporation needs to check off for who they're exposing things to. So, example of that is like I work at Georgia State University College of Law, and every semester I do a celebrity that I want to bring into the classroom. But I need that celebrity because Georgia State is a public college run by the General Assembly, which is a Republican legislature, right? So I need to make sure that I'm not doing anything that is too crazy, but accomplishes what I want and is good for all my students, right? So if I want to keep getting funded, and I want to be able to fly somebody in, so I just finished flying in Issa Rae. And she was wonderful. And everybody loved her. And the house was packed, and nobody said like, oh, that black girl, Issa Rae. No, they said, wait, isn't that the one that was in the party?
That's right,
movie?
that's right.
Wait, where did she go to school? Oh, because she went to Stanford.
Right.
Right? So I'm not a genius, right? I'm just know how to do it the right way, right? Know how to satisfy all the things, making sure everybody is comfortable. We just gotta get a little bit smarter about how we partner, and how we talk, and how we present, and all of those things that make it better. But one thing I wanna tell you guys about networking is that you guys have a very unique opportunity in that you can reach people by just sending them a inbox message. And you don't have the slightest idea if they are gonna write you back or not. Well, what do you have to lose, right? What you have to lose is a terrible presentation in that DM or in that LinkedIn inbox. But I will tell you that there is no CEO that you couldn't send a LinkedIn message to today if you wanted to. Well, what are you gonna say about yourself? I wanted to know if you would be my mentor.
I wanted to know is too many words. We get too many emails with too many words. Keep it in there. Start at the end and work your way back.
Dude, I want you to really consider when you leave here, what do you have to offer
That's right.
somebody that you want to mentor you? Because when, like, I loved your question right off the bat. I wanted to talk more to you. Right? You want to know, how do I know the stuff I know?
Yeah.
Like, how did I get there? That's interesting to me, right? So when someone says, will you be my mentor? How many people can I mentor in one semester? Only so many. So I gotta find the one that gives me something that goes like, oh, I like that. Like if somebody says, Mo Ivory, I saw you at the da-da-da-da, and you said something about the da-da-da, which I'm familiar with because I am from the da-da-da-da. Then I'm like, oh, okay, let me look at that.
Yeah, for sure.
So what I'm saying to you is don't think there's nobody that you can't inbox, because most people answer their own inboxes these days. I was interviewing Tabitha Brown, you know Tabitha Brown with the Target and all that, and I said, Tabitha, I love your social media, girl. I mean, who does your social media? She said, me. And I said, okay, I'm gonna test that out a little bit later. I took that very big picture that I took with her that day, and I sent it to her on her Facebook to see, like, I thought you did your own social media. So what did we talk about in that green room when I was there with it? She wrote me back, girl. I remember you had the pocketbook. My pocketbook wasn't even in the pocketbook. My purse was not even in the picture, and she said something about my purse, which made me know she does her own social media.
Yeah.
So now there was a relationship, right? So I'm just saying that, like, you can get to anybody you want to if you're prepared with what you say and what you're asking for. So that's a tool to set you apart from everybody else. That's how you get real internships.
Where's the Mo Ivory book? No.
So, with everything being said, the last thing that you talked about, Ms. Mo Ivory, was basically the connecting within LinkedIn or social media. What is the best way for our peers to be able to contact you all or to get connected with you all?
I'm on LinkedIn with my name, and on Instagram I'm at SportsLady18.
Okay.
Mo Ivory, on IG, I'm at Mo Ivory Show. And next semester, I'm teaching a class called Hip Hop in the Law, where we're gonna do a deep dive into the Young Thug trial. So if anybody wants to come and sit in that, you can find me on Instagram.
On LinkedIn, Angela Adams Suggs, and on Instagram, I am Angela Suggs.
Can we give it up? Great job, student moderator.
Thanks to the panelists. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere yet. We want to,
I just also want to
go ahead.
thank the students and our
Yes.
guests for being here. And I just want to say on behalf of the School of Business here at Clark Atlanta University, we're just so excited to have you here. We appreciate you bringing this to our students, bringing this to our community, because there are a lot of students that are interested in being like you or better than you, and all of you. And that's the goal that we hope to aspire. That's the goal that we hope to aspire that they become. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks, everybody.
If I could, I just want to underscore the power of relationships. All of this is about relationships. From my relationship on how, when I was a student, I was in the Navy, and I applied, and I had to defer when I could come because I couldn't get out of the Navy to get to Atlanta soon enough. That relationship led me to this. Our relationship, right? I sent an email to Angela just saying, my wife went to FAM, y'all were together. Real talk, right? Because we had never met 1 week ago. And she responded based on that FAMU relationship. I text Mo 3 days ago. This is my girl, this is my sister. We do a prayer call every morning together. This is fam, and so that's a relationship. And then I've been hunting her for so long. I'm texting her, emailing her, like, you gonna pull up? You gonna pull up? You know, I'm over here in political science now. All about the relationships. And then obviously Rashida through Dr. George, she said, oh, I got a student for you, right? And so the way this is being broadcast is Eldridge, through just Eldridge Media. That's my Let Us Make Man. So what we're saying is build and invest in each other. What Tuesday says is we have to be self-determined. It's about us. If you thought somebody else was going to save us, we got a rude awakening yet again. We got to build what we need. And so we encourage you all. HBCU All-Stars has done tremendous internships. Dr. Z, make sure you all see her in terms of the internships that are available through HBCU All-Stars, because it's a movement. And we just want you all to be a part of the movement so we can support each other. The more we do for others, the universe rewards us back. That's just how it works. And I'm a witness. So we're so grateful to these, what powerful sisters to do this. Right?
And it's important to share what you've learned. Like I said, these great minds is coming in really important to share it. Help amplify our women in sports, women that are doing great things, you're doing great things. Share it so amongst your peers. That's what's important. Put the information out, and we're going to continue to show the world HBCUs matter. That is important. Keep fighting for us. Understand that. Okay?
Thank you, Dr. Green. Our
Thank you.
Director of
Yes,
Operations,
thank you.
Ryan Lewis, our Longfellow, Brianna, who is interning with us, who is a CAU political science graduate, and where's, yes, Victoria, Howard University. So, and then obviously my wife, Dr. Jamie Johnson Davis from FAMU.
And let me introduce some of my staff, as mentioned, Dr. Z, she's our Chief Executive Assistant. I'm going to let her introduce herself, why it's important. Dr. Z, she's been modest, but let me introduce yourself.
Why, hello everyone. I am Dr. Xanthia Reddish. Everyone calls me Dr. Z. And as he said, I'm his Chief Assistant working here. I'm so excited. I was there. I was along the journey when Travis first got the vision he shared. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And we got connected years ago when I came to Atlanta when my son got drafted to the Atlanta Hawks. And it's the power of relationships, right? So a person who worked at the Hawks, who was friends with him, introduced us because I was going to move here with my son, and I needed a school for my younger son who was still in high school. And Travis, who didn't know me from anyone, took his whole day and took my husband and I around to school after school after school, because we had to find a school with a basketball program first. And then we could find a place to live, wherever the school was. So we did that, and that just started this relationship. And I work with other families in sports, helping them navigate it. I'm a retired school principal. My son now plays for the Lakers. And yes, he plays for the Lakers. And we just continue that relationship. So the power of relationships, I absolutely agree. And also just giving back, continuing to pay it forward. Again, I work with families, helping other young people who are gifted in their sport navigate what? The school system and the sports system, so they can meet their goals and earn scholarships. Because I wanted to be the answer to the problems that I had when I was bringing my children through. So, that said,
What's your
I'm
son's
here to
name?
help. My son is Cam Reddish, the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yep. Ace, thank you, Dr. Z.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Holiday McDaniel, and I'm so happy to be on board with HBC All Stars, an incredible program format for not only men, but women. And I would be remiss if I didn't shout out my commish, Mo Ivory, who we just won her Commissioner District 4. So when they talk about relationships, I worked with her to get in her commissioner seat. She didn't need another accolade, did she? She really didn't. Or a job, how about that? But the relationship with this man, we go to church together. His family, it's a family affair. It's a deep desire to raise up our community and see us survive, not only just thrive, but survive and soar. And we're gonna do that through HBCU basketball, like none other.
Thank you.
I did introduce myself earlier, Dr. Casilla Green, Director of Operations with Davis Bozeman Law Firm, Howard undergrad, Howard School of Law. But before you all go, we owe you all some tickets. So if you would please take down my email, because it'd be easier for you to take my email and email me, right? My email is cgreen, CGREENE, at Davis, DAVIS, some more, BOZEMAN law.com. Please email me to let me know that you were here so we can get a ticket ready for you, okay? Thanks so much for
I got
having me.
one more staff member I want to introduce, because I know we talk about interns, but KB, introduce yourself.
My name is Ken Butler. I pretty much handle all the game management for all the HBCU All-Star games. So when we do it at the Final Four, the games is coming up. So all the students I heard about experimental and things like that, I'm the person that can help you with that. I've worked for the Atlanta Hawks for the past 15 years, so I understand when they were talking about working your way up. I started at the bottom, worked my way up to one of the directors of the guest experience management for the Hawks. So I understand that, and it was just great being here today and being a part of HBCU.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'd like to get a picture in here, and then those of you all who are able, we'd like to get a picture out in front of, right out in front with all of y'all.
Yes.
Is that okay? All right, let's get
So
that.
now my email is on the board now.
Yep, email's on the board, thanks to Brian. Okay. Can we just step out? Maybe we should all.